to the public. Let's talk about that other candidate who is often accused of having poor judgment, Anthony Weiner. The national media has gone crazy with this. You have big national figures saying he should go away, he should vanish, and Anthony Weiner, I guess, as he told a group yesterday, you're stuck with me. He's on the ballot no matter what. He's, you can't take him off the ballot. Is there any particular, I mean, what would he even get by stepping down at this point?
Nothing, but I think that we're dignifying him by continuing to talk about him. And the fact is, I do radio shows all over the country, and now when I call up Detroit or L.A., the first thing they want to do is make a joke about being a New Yorker. It really is embarrassing to the city. But instead of continually repeating the name Weiner, we should be talking about another name, like Detroit. A couple of weeks ago on this show, I brought up Detroit, and Elliot Spitzer said, well, we're not a Detroit. But the fact is, Detroit spends 1/3 of its budget on health and retirement benefits. New York spends 1/3 of its budget on health and retirement benefits. And we have health benefits unfunded 15 times as great as Detroit. Our luck hasn't run out yet, but there are serious issues in this mayoral race, and instead everybody's talking about Weiner's Weiner.
Well, let's ask the controller. Is it time to panic?
No, I don't think it's time to panic. The public ultimately often has very good judgment. And the performance in the polls in the last 48 hours, I think, is vindicating that notion. Weiner's popularity is dropping like a rock. I think people are scratching their heads over his bizarre preoccupation with self-satisfaction, is the way I would put it. I don't think he's viable any longer. I think it's increasingly recognized that he's not viable. And whether he drops out or doesn't drop out, I don't think in the end is going to make a difference.
Relatively harmless at this point, Senator, for him to sort of play it out through September?
It's a distraction that we really don't need, and we should be looking at the three major contenders and look at their strengths and their weaknesses. And I have declared for Bill Thompson. I think he's a serious adult. I think he's a person. Betsy brings up the questions of unfunded liabilities, etc., potential unfunded liabilities. We've got to have somebody who has an understanding of the finances and what we can do, and not a show horse. And so I think he clearly stands out. But let's look at the candidates and what they stand for, and not just the jibe. And I think the other two they're serious and well-intentioned, as they may be. But I think we need somebody who can bring people together, and I think that's important.
And of course, there are two more candidates. There aren't three in the race.
Well,
there are five.
Yeah, but we're talking about...
But there's also a Republican primary.
Yeah, but we're talking about the Democratic
But I do want to say to you that I regard it as reassuring that you have two very serious and thoughtful people on this panel who have turned our attention appropriately to the real issues that confront the city. The city is buoyant today, but it has an overhang of potential financial difficulty that is serious and that can't be ignored in terms of its indebtedness, in terms of its legacy liabilities, in terms of expectations that workers through their unions have as to what's going to happen to their wages going forward. These are profoundly important issues, and we really haven't heard any of the candidates speak to these issues in any serious way. And to the extent that responsible people like Betsy McCoy and Alphonse D'Amato now call attention to those issues and say that that's what we should be talking about, that's a public service.
That's right. I'd like to know, for example, which of these mayoral candidates is going to make the same kind of suggestion that Mayor Emanuel in Chicago made and the mayor of Detroit made to shift all of these health liabilities to Obamacare, because that's going to create a huge burden on taxpayers everywhere outside the cities, but it's also going to rob those health benefit the people entitled to those health benefits. It's going to take away very rich packages and shift them to these exchanges where they won't have access to the same kind of doctors and hospitals they currently do. This should be a big campaign issue in New York. We're the medical capital of the nation.
Well, we will have to leave it right there and talk some more about healthcare another time. Thank you for coming by. Betsy McCoy, good to see you. Senator D'Amato. Harrison Golden, thanks so much for coming by. We are going to